Yesterday afternoon, I was in a conference talking with Chief Moody. I got information from Sergeant Lewis from an investigative unit and just said, hey, I think we might have had a potential find. We have an anomaly that was picked up with one of our AI drones and gone back through Search Quicker. It looks like it's consistent with a shirt, so we want to get units on the ground and further assess it. So I said, okay. And had Spokane County Sheriff's Office. I was over here with their helicopter, repelled two of our detectives down to the site where the anomaly was, I guess, detected or marked. And they confirmed it was a shirt, and it was consistent with one that we had seen Travis Decker wearing before. And there was also shorts and other items that were associated with some of the personal effects that we knew he had. So we wanted to follow up further and collected some items and have since sent it off to State Patrol's crime lab to get some DNA analysis done.
Same kind of clothing that he was described in the general bulletins as having worn?
Correct, yeah. The day of, I think we had video surveillance that matched him wearing that. So again, it appears to be consistent with what we've seen him wearing the day of, and with other items that we also found and seen, also consistent with things we've seen him wearing photos. So we're going to send it out and see if it's a match.
The location that this find was made was on a slope of Grindstone Mountain, is that right?
Correct.
Which slope, which face, do you know?
I'd have to go back through and look at our topographical map. I know we were a little over 4,000 feet in elevation and about 0.74 miles away from the campsite.
Was it looking down over the campsite?
Again, I'd have to put myself in that perspective, but I think it should be within view of the site.
And just for clarification, the press release that went out said it was a location south of Leavenworth, Grindstone is west of Leavenworth.
Correct, and I think that was just probably a misquote by our author for that, but at least, yes, we do have the location penned.
Do you have any, aside from personal items, do you have any specific reason to believe that this is Mr. Decker? As we've talked about before in previous searches, there has been at least one other human body discovered.
Correct. So that's why I'm saying I'm optimistic that it seems to be, it's a high probability it could be Mr. Decker, but until I get DNA results back, our investigative units can continue to process that he's unaccounted for.
And what's the turnaround time, do you think, on final DNA identification?
I've talked to Chief Batiste, asked his team to expedite it, and no ETA was provided, but I understand in the past they have been able to get results back to us within a 24-hour period, but I understand we're also not the only agency in the state investigating a homicide and wanting DNA results back. So though we'd like to be special in this situation, the one thing we did take into account is we do have several federal assets along with local assets that are on the ground, and if they can be allocated back to other cases, we want to free them up and also be responsible with those taxpayer dollars.
Tell me about the drone that made this discovery. You called it an AI drone. Is that one that we have in our reserve here at the Sheriff's Office, or was it borrowed from another agency?
As I understand it, was Spokane County Sheriff's Office was flying their drones. We do have similar technology with our drones, but it was doing imaging. It detected an anomaly, and then we came back to that location, came in closer for a further inspection. We're able to get better imaging from the drone once we got closer to the ground. This wasn't something you would just see as you were flying over the top of it, as it's been briefed back to me. You did have to get back down through some heavier foliage and get an image of it, and then we were able to determine, yes, this is something that we want to put boots on the ground and check and see what it is.
You mentioned that it seems to be the focus right now is identification, but do we have any information concerning time of death or cause of death for this individual?
No, but I talked to Deputy Coroner Crow this morning. I know he's working with the medical examiner as well. Once State Patrol and our detectives are done processing the scene, we're still considering this to be a homicide, and if anything were to happen to what we believe to be Mr. Decker that was not a normal or explainable cause of death, we're going to investigate that as a homicide as well. But overall, Mr. Crow, or Deputy Coroner Crow, and the medical examiner said it could take several weeks to determine, if they're able to determine at all, what the cause of death or how long he'd been deceased.
One of the thoughts that, well, it's a theory that I had, was that if Mr. Decker was seeking to end his life, one of the easy ways would be a fall. Mm-hmm. And do you know if right now, if there's anything that indicates this body fell from a height? No,
but we've seen this before in the area too. Unfortunately, individuals will take their own lives by throwing themselves off a cliff. Again, nothing would show that that was the case, but again, we'll wait for the medical examiner and coroners to give us a clearer picture of what might be the cause of death.
Are we able from the remains to say about this individual relative age, relative height, what their ethnicity might be?
No, it was certainly decomposition was well in place and the remains were scattered, which we know is consistent with what we've seen with other remains that have been found out in the wilderness. If animals do get a hold of them, there's actually science that goes with it that will show the spread pattern. So we got our teams on there. We'll work with experts to determine if pieces are missing, what we can do to find them and bring the full picture back together.
So that indicates death was some time ago. We just don't know how long.
Potentially. Again, even the coroner, who's more of an expert in that field than I, said that he wouldn't make a guesstimation just because decomposition could certainly be determined by several factors that he's not quite sure what was in place yet.
As you said, you're in kind of a waiting period, and you want to be sure and you want to have confirmation.
Absolutely.
But does this give you greater confidence that, this whole thing can be brought to a close?
I'm optimistic that we're heading in the right direction, but I did tell our investigative unit, I told Chief Moody, we're not going to congratulate ourselves, we're not going to pat each other on the back, we're going to continue to do what we need to do for an investigation. We're not done yet. I would still say we're about on the 5-yard line. We still have a lot of work to do to get through the goal line, and we need to make sure that we continue to be professional, thorough, detail-oriented, because we may have another incident that may come up out of this. And Mr. Decker, no matter what I think about him personally, I think the act was heinous. All of our evidence still shows he's our primary suspect. It is someone's son. It is someone's brother. He is a human being. We'll treat him with respect. We'll make sure that when this is all done, that his remains are handed back over to his family and that they do what they would like to do with him. But overall, if something happened to him, I said it from the beginning, we had no ill will towards him. We didn't want to cause him any harm. We wanted him brought to justice. I'd much rather have him standing in a courtroom in front of one of our judges explaining what happened, why it happened. But I don't know if we're going to get that.
Lead agency on this particular search, I think in our phone conversation you mentioned Border Patrol, and I did see some Border Patrol vehicles this week in Leavenworth.
Correct.
Were they the point agency for this particular search?
No, U.S. Marshals, primary, still working with us. I mean, once they come into our jurisdiction, they notify us, they let us know what the operation is going to be. We approved it. This was a planned operation. We had done some consulting here last week with Washington State Patrol, formulating some of the approaches we wanted to see with this, areas we wanted checked. It started on Monday. This was supposed to be the last day yesterday. Border Patrol, they've helped us before with their tracking team. Again, they're experienced. This is a unique environment. They've done it before. They came in to assist. They had cadaver dogs. They had other technology and experience we want to see, and that's what we've tried to push for up to this point. We know we're not subject matter experts in every single field. Triple homicides, especially something egregious as this, does not happen every day in Chelan County. So we understand where we can bring individuals and departments that have more experience, expertise, resources and technology in to assist us. We're a medium-sized agency. We understand what we had. Had we had to take this investigation on by ourselves, we didn't have the manpower. We would have bankrupted our county most likely, taking this on. And I don't think we'd be as far as where we are now. Again, we're thankful for all the help we've got.
Anything else you think people should know or that I didn't ask about, Mike?
Appreciate the community remaining committed to this, committed to us, being faithful. We know it was frustrating. I've talked about it quite a bit. We would have loved to have had results within 2 or 3 days and found him. We know that's not always the case. You're going to have to dig. At times, you're just going to have to persevere, remain focused. And this could become a marathon, not always a sprint. And I think we were kind of in the mindset that we were transitioning to a marathon, but we were going to stick with it. We never lost focus, though, never lost hope. And we knew that Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia would have expected us to bring their killer to justice. And I think we're one step closer to doing that.